Hello. Hello, my name is Hannah Robertson, and welcome to my artifact analysis presentation. Let's go into slideshow mode here. To start off my presentation, I will be introducing the 4 PLOs and how they connect to my plan of study POS or artifact analysis table. Each of these PLOs is demonstrated on the left-hand side, and I am showing my either introductory, developing, or mastery level of understanding throughout all my courses and each of the PLOs. Firstly, I'll go over the PLOs. PLO 1 is to integrate advanced approaches to instruction, assessment, and learning using digital tools and skills. PLO 2 to design learning experiences that include learner characteristics, principles of customized learning, and assessment as learning. PLO 3 to apply research methods to study and inform instruction in traditional and digital learning environments. And PLO 4 to develop reflective practices that are grounded in current learning science research, professional ethics, and include pathways to continuous growth. As previously mentioned, each of those PLOs connects to all 10 of my courses that I took while in my master's program here at National University. And each course is represented as either being by being a part of a PLO, as well as what level of understanding I am within each of those PLOs. To start off, we'll start with PLO 1 to integrate advanced approaches to instruction, assessment, and learning using digital tools and skills. I first will delve into my course ARL 645, Developing Fluency in Reading. I conducted a research paper on programs that develop fluency, in which majority of these programs were all online or using online tools to then assist in-person instruction with the students. I marked this at the developed level of understanding. This assignment is within the PLO 1 alignment because I researched an online fluency program called Read Naturally. I researched the background, effectiveness, and personal application of the program in relation to its abilities to increase students' fluency skills. So I put this at a competency level as developed because although I learned a great deal about what fluency is and what digital programs are available to assist students, I personally have not used the program within my own classroom or with my own students, but I feel as though if I did, I would be able to increase that competency to a mastery level. I just have not yet. But with research, I do see the great value and importance in this program or programs like this in order to increase students' fluency skills. The next assignment and class that connects with my PLO 1 is from ECE 653, Best ECE Teaching Practices. This was a phonemic awareness lesson plan. This phonemic awareness lesson plan was surrounded or based off of the Heggerty curriculum. It's a curriculum that I utilize every single day in my classroom for the past 2 years in teaching transitional kindergarten. The assignment is within PLO 1 because I completed a lesson plan utilizing the Heggerty Phonemic Awareness curriculum. The curriculum includes videos, hand motions, and verbal auditory exercises for early childhood age students to follow along with in order to develop their foundational phonological awareness skills. Although this curriculum did include a lot of in-person exercises, like I mentioned, either with hand motions or the students repeating back to what they hear, a lot of it was also conducted with videos. There would be a video that was happening that we would watch every week at the start of the week in order for the students to get an introduction of what the next lessons were going to be like for Tuesday through Friday. So I demonstrate competency as mastered in this assignment course because I use this curriculum every day, as I mentioned, in TK classroom for the past 2 years. I saw the wonderful progress my students made in their phonemic awareness skills because of both the online and physical connections my students made with their phonemes. I think I loved that the online component of this as well because the students got to see it in real life from their teachers and within their peers. There was a great connection between online learning and then putting it into real life for them. The last assignment that I'll delve into PLO 1 is from my course ECE 656, Foundations of Adult Learners, and I marked this at the introductory level of understanding. This was to complete an adult learning lesson plan. So this is within the PLO 1 alignment because I completed a lesson plan for adult learners, primarily elementary school teachers, that would utilize a number of different online resources. This lesson is designed to teach educators how to use a benchmark curriculum. This curriculum has a number of online resources. Additionally, I would assess levels of understanding from my presentation by having the teachers complete a Google form. Not to mention, this entire lesson plan was conducted or with the image or written with the image in mind that it would all be from a Google Slides or PowerPoint presentation with links and videos and multimedia sources implemented and embedded throughout the lesson. I demonstrate competency as introductory in this assignment because I've never personally taught adult learners yet. So although I, as an educator, have utilized the online resources within Benchmark, I have also used the Google Suite functions every day, time and time again. I have not used those two in order to actually teach them to adults. So that's something that's in one of my professional goals later on in life, but not something I have done just yet. So in writing the lesson plan, I marked it as introductory because it was hard for me to always visualize how adults would interpret or interact or be engaged with the material that I was presenting online. Since for my entire career, I've looked at it from the perspective of children. Now delving into PLO2. PLO2 is to design learning experiences that include learner characteristics, principles of customized learning, and assessment as learning. The first course that I'm going to connect back to that PLO is from my course ARL 645, Developing Fluency in Reading. This assignment in particular was a lesson plan and lesson recordings on fluency instruction. I marked this at the master level competency. This assignment is within the PLO2 alignment because I strove to create an accommodating and engaging learning experience for my students to better develop their fluency skills. While doing this, I also assess my students on their fluency development, utilizing parts of the Heggerty curriculum 3 times a year. So as I mentioned, the Heggerty curriculum was a really great foundational curriculum that was centered in all of literacy components of my transitional kindergarten classroom. I also, with that, not just the daily exercises, it was very important for us to keep organized assessments to see the growth that the students either did or did not have at that time. So my co-teacher and I had created very organized binders and a data tracking system of their fluency developing skills in order to see how the students are learning their fluency skills or their phonemic awareness skills from the curriculum, or if not, how we could adapt and maybe create different small groups for them to receive better, more personalized instruction. As I mentioned, because this was incorporated every day as a practice, as well as 3 times a year, very consistently for the assessments, I marked this as mastered. I saw the impact that it had in keeping track of the data, assessing where students were at, and then making adjustments from there. So it's a very impactful curriculum, very impactful exercise to assess what you had been teaching on the routine, and then making adjustments as need be is crucial. I also have a visual here of the fluency skills that we learned and what components make up fluency development. The next assignment that connects to PLO2 is for my course ARL 646, Comprehension Strategies. So this assignment was a reading comprehension strategies research paper. I marked this as PLO2 because I took a great deal of time to research comprehension strategies and theories, but that I could also uniquely apply to my class and students. No student or class year to year is the same. I knew that what my students would be interested in and how I could best get to assess them and then giving me the most accurate results possible, especially when they're 5 years old. I demonstrate competency as developing in this assignment because although I learned a great deal about comprehension strategies, I believe that I still have some growth on this topic. I had a tendency to pull from the same resources for my students to demonstrate comprehension, sequencing, basic story retell, etc. And although those are very effective strategies, I do not feel as though I balanced a way in which I can ensure all students are comprehending the story, especially those that tend to struggle with story retell. So ultimately, I feel as though my co-teacher and I had great effective comprehension strategies, and then we would assess, given this example right here, where students would sequence and they would stand up from their spot, come up to the board and drag the illustrations that match the next appropriate step in the story or the next thing that happened in the story. So it was interactive, it was multimodal, and there were a lot of visuals. But I think given those results from the assessments of comprehension, I don't know how much we actually adjusted our instruction from there. You know, we would still go on to the next story and we would still do more practice throughout the whole year. But that is one goal, professional goal I have, is taking those results of assessment from comprehension instruction and then actually using that to make adjustments when needed in either different small groups or different circle activities, so on and so forth. The last assignment that I'll discuss within PLO2 is from my course EDA 648, Student Services and Enrollment. This assignment was the Project Implicit Exam and Biases. This assignment is within PLO2 because I took my time going through the Project Implicit assessment and discerning how my biases would impact my teaching. So ultimately, this was assessment for myself and assessing my learning as an educator and as a person, and seeing what results I had received and how I could use that to better myself, and interacting with members of the community, all the different families, parents, students, staff, administrators. And I put this as introductory just because I think there's always so much room to grow in learning about biases and learning about um, judgments we make even subconsciously, and seeing how that could actually be impacting our career. And so I thought this was a powerful assignment to do and something to take with me forward in my life. Now, moving on to PLO3, to apply practitioner research methods to study and inform instruction in traditional and digital learning environments. This first course and assignment that I matched with PLO3 is from EDA 646, Strategic Planning and Analysis. This assignment was my course signature assignment to interview for strategic planning. This was a really interesting assignment because I had to do a lot of research on what a strategic plan is and the impact that it has in a higher education system. Amazingly enough and interestingly enough, I actually got to interview my dad for this assignment, for he had been a part of the creation of many strategic plans throughout his career in higher education. And I got to see some of the key components that make up a strategic plan, what were some of the more difficult parts for him to execute as a team, and then what were some of the most meaningful parts he felt as an administrator in a higher education system. So I demonstrate competency as introductory in this assignment because although there was a lot of research behind the scenes, I have actually not been a part of the creation or implementation of a strategic plan in a higher education system. So because I have more of just the background knowledge now, I've not had the personal experience, I feel as though I am introductory and definitely at a foundational level, because it is very complicated and so involved, and it takes a lot of time continuously every year throughout the year. The next assignment that I connected to my PLO3 is from the course EDA 640, Introduction to Higher Education. This was a research paper on unique higher education experiences, and I marked this as developing. For this assignment, I marked it PLO3 alignment because I researched a unique way of providing educational opportunities to a population of students in New York. Within this assignment, I learned about some of the different opportunities that lie within the world of education. In this case, CUNY offers a competitive, faster-paced community college experience that helps set students up for a successful four-year college experience. So this was a City University of New York, and there's a picture here of students with their sweatshirts and from the university or from the college, and it was really wonderful to see how there was a community that had a need, and the community college created themselves, the community college surrounding and completely based off of what that need was and how they could meet it for their students. So this community college offers a very holistic, whole student, whole person way of thinking and conducting and running their programs. They have so many resources for food, materials, childcare, and also just being able to graduate within and get an AA within a 2-year period guaranteed. They have so many academic counselors that are there to help. There's a lot of staffing and funding, and I think it's amazing that so many students have had success in either getting their AA in a timely, cost-effective manner, or being able to transfer it over quickly to receive bachelor's or therefore master's degree. So I developed this I demonstrate competency as a developing level of understanding, because I did learn a lot about CUNY in specific and what are some opportunities that will lie within higher education to meet the unique needs of their communities. But I would love to continue to learn more about what other community colleges or four-year universities, colleges or universities offer to also meet the needs of other students, or what are some options that could be created to meet the needs that have not been implemented yet. So yeah, this was just one example of an institution that does this very well, but I'd love to learn of what other ones are available. And then the last assignment that meets the PLO 3 is from course EDA 644, Higher Education Law and Politics. This was for the court cases affecting higher education. I really, really love this assignment. I feel that I was able to research many different court cases and see how they affected higher education and how they impacted both the traditional or digital learning environments heavily for students in higher ed, and how they continue to impact students in higher ed, not just from when the court case was happening, but the effects of it after a court had made a decision. I demonstrate competency as mastery in this assignment because I did learn a lot from the legal standpoint, the significance of these cases, and I put mastery for these cases in specific. There were 4 that I highlighted, and so I feel as though I learned a lot about those 4, but of course there are infinite number of court cases that take place within the higher ed system that I have yet to learn. But from these 4 court cases, I was able to learn a great deal about the impacts that they did have on students at the time, or how they continue to impact students now. So for example, this one right here, these 2 pictures I took from one slide I had on Students for Fair Admissions Incorporated versus President and Fellows of Harvard College, and CFFA versus University of North Carolina. So this was talking about race and how that would or would not be impacted in the college admission decision. So, and what the decision was in 1978 versus what it was just in 2023. So very, very interesting. PLO 4, to develop reflective practices that are grounded in current learning, science, research, professional ethics, and can include pathways to continuous growth. So the first assignment I included was from MAA 610, Plan of Study and Practical Research. This was my research study review assignment, and I put that as introductory because at the time, it certainly felt very introductory. So this assignment is within PLO 4 because I had to complete the initial reflection process on what my research question might be for the conclusion of this program. I reflected what I was interested in, yet what I was hoping to grow and learn more from within this process. And I demonstrate competency as introductory because at the time I felt this level of understanding to be fitting. Throughout the course, it was a bit overwhelming to think I'd be able to get to a mastery level of any of these topics. However, this assignment has been proof that what once was an introductory level of competency can grow into developing or mastery with time and effort. So here you can see my first draft of what my research question would be, and just talking again about my question of interest and my overall purpose. So the very, very beginning. The next assignment within PLO 4 is from course EDA 648, Student Services and Enrollment Management. This assignment was for the 5 domains of ethical responsibility. I put this assignment in PLO 4 because to reflect and research on the 5 domains of ethical responsibility was a wonderful and impactful exercise for myself. This assignment followed closely with the author George S. McClellan and how a higher education institution must be mindful of the whole student, not just academics, in order to get their success. So this was really grounded in the science and the research behind what author McClellan, Mr. McClellan, had done and conducted for himself with his personal experiences from being an elementary school teacher, working through every aspect or part of higher education you can imagine through higher education, and seeing what was truly the key or the secret of developing a successful student. And he summarized it into the 5 domains of ethical responsibility. So what was the responsibility of instructors, of teachers, of administrators, and how will that impact the students for the better? I demonstrate this as developing, because at this time I had some professional developments on the 5 domains of ethical responsibility. However, from learning more about the topic in each of the 5 topics individually, I see where I still have a lot of room to grow. And I believe everybody and every educator or administrator has room to grow. And so I was aware of the professional standards or personal and ethical foundation, values, philosophy, history, and leadership. But I was unaware of how to more specifically apply those standards to my working and personal life at the time. So I learned a lot about how each of these 5 values and standards could personally impact my professional career and the students I interact with. This last assignment is from MAA 670, Applied Practitioner Research and Customized Study. I put this at the mastery level for my research proposal. This assignment was within PLO 4 alignment because this assignment is to write and complete my research proposal. It gave me a wonderful opportunity to curate a plan of further research and showing connections between social emotional growth and literary response-based reading. This project was grounded in my ethics and beliefs towards the impact of reading on our youngest learners, and I was backed by the science to prove it. So just as these assignments kind of touched on what were some things I was either interested in or some things that were of moral value, this one I think was able to really pique my interest into what I was interested in already within my professional career and seeing how I could better myself. And I think reading these 5 articles and really doing a deep dive into what results they gathered from each of the 5 articles allowed me to feel more confident at a mastery level of competency to prove the impacts of reading, some of the impacts of reading on our youngest learners. So ultimately, the results from the research was deemed to be inconclusive, so we could continue to find more answers and continue to grow an understanding of what was the base of our research question. So from the 5 articles, I mark myself as mastery, but because it's something that I think of to be a great importance and of high interest to me, it's also something I want to continue to learn more about. So thank you very much for your time. It is greatly appreciated.